concerns about the minutes? When you're ready, a motion to approve.
I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes.
I second it.
All in favor of approval of May 12th minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Minutes for May 12th, approved. Now we're on to old business. The zoning text amendment. I would like to take a moment to read and to show the public some things. There are 2 maps on each side letting you know the AR1 zones. And for those that might be a little unclear of the reason why we're meeting here today, it's for the additional conditional uses in the AR1 zone. So there is the amended version they sent to the application is right here. It's the same duplicate one over there, if you're closer to that side of the building. First, I'd like to say members of the public may address the Planning Commission for 2 minutes regarding the AR1 zone text amendment. If the speaker feels they need not convey all of their commentary during the allotted 2 minutes, time permitting, he or she may revisit the podium before the close of the public hearing. When addressing the commission, the speaker shall first identify him or herself by stating their name and address. He or she will restrict all comments to matters only pertaining to the AR1 zone text amendment. Comments not relevant shall be ruled out of order by the chair, which is myself, and continued irrelevant comment shall result in the speaker being denied further audience time. Please observe the time limit. I brought my handy little timer, so if you hear it go off, I'll let you wrap up what you're saying and then to be seated. The chair shall rule out of order any member of the public who shall speak out of order or who shall not address the Planning Commission from the podium. Just keep it nice and orderly. The chair shall also rule out of order any person who, in the chair's determination, is making obscene, profane, impertinent, irrelevant, immaterial, or inflammatory statements or inciting violence or fighting. Have any of that? Sound or noise, so that the person at the podium can concentrate on what they're saying. All persons shall at all times conduct themselves in accordance with these rules, and failing such shall leave the chair no other option but to close the public hearing. So please don't put me in that position. I would greatly appreciate it. The chair, I will start off with public hearing for the text amendment submitted by Mike Hubbard on behalf of the Monteillets. We will hear commentary on the zone text amendment until 7 p.m. At that time, if we still have more commentary, I can choose to go for longer. So currently, the Planning Commission is taking public testimony on AR1 zoning text amendment. We will now open the public hearing. Mr. Hubbard will be the first to speak. He will be the only individual allotted extra time beyond the 2 minutes because his client submitted the application. Okay. So would you please?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mike Hubbard, and I do represent here in Monteillet, and they run the wonderful Fromagerie out here west of town, and are the proponents of this text amendment to the R1 zone. And if you read what has been submitted on their behalf for your consideration, it is essentially agriculture, value added, and one of the wonderful benefits to this community, to the county, that we can continue and enhance by allowing this text amendment. If any of you think that Monteillets run out there as some sort of a hobby farm. Well, you're sadly mistaken. It's a full-fledged dairy cheese-making operation. These folks put endless hours of their own labor. Their hands are dirty. I have here a pamphlet of how you handle the milking room, the pasteurizing of the product, the cleanup procedures. It's all very detailed. Set up for milking. Place painted vacuum pump. Check to see that the cups on milking cloths and tubes are open. Place valve on wall in position parallel with pipe. Place a clean filter sock in pipe, etc. Here are the procedures. These are what these folks follow out there. Sometimes 18, 20 hours a day with these animals. And obviously, if you're running a dairy and making cheese, cleanliness and all that is a priority. This is what they do. These are working farmers here whose lifeblood depends on the product they produce there. And the grace of this commission would pass a text amendment to allow them to continue, because if you don't, well, there's enough sad stories in this county of businesses who are no longer here. And let's face it, folks, the character is changing, and for the better, I think. We have a diversity here of uses that are agricultural sourced. The Monteillets are a prime example of the new blood that's come in, but they're not really new blood. They've been out there since the 80s. They subdivided it in '96, had platted it into two parcels. It's about 21.5 acres. But they represent a new blood, and what they're doing is a new kind of agriculture for this area with the dairy and cheese making. I mean, we've had dairies here before. There was one downtown off of Jackson Street when I was a kid. But this is a homespun, down-to-earth, real-life work of love for these folks, for their animals, and what they're producing. And you're going to hear probably from some of these folks today how important Monteillets and their product are to various restaurants, to tourism. They bring so much to this community by being there and doing what they're doing. And these folks are craftspeople. Take such care in what they do. They're a credit to our community. We hope that you, again, will look favorably on our proposed text amendment. I did want to share with you a letter from a neighbor. He's not able to be here tonight, and it's from Brian Lowry. If I can stand that up. I'd like this to be made part of the record. Columbia County Planning Commission, June 7th, 2014.
Mr. Hubbard?
Yes.
Do you have the address? Oh, there it is. The address of Mr. Lowry, 108 Penny Lane.
That's it.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
To whom it may concern. This letter is in regards to Monteillet Fromagerie on behalf of Joan and Pierre Monteillet. For the past 7 years, we've been actual neighbors for 7 years, but figurative neighbors for many more. Over the course of those last 7 years, we've had many exchanges with the Monteillets. Monteillets have been supportive and helpful to us in giving us some of their premium compost several times over, allowing us to use their broken tractor time and time again as we were building our home, and even keeping us in their good graces after we felt compelled to shoot one of their dogs after numerous dog fights. Story for another time. I know the Monteillets even opened their fromagerie doors to our local kindergarten class to learn about cheese and the cheese-making process. For all these reasons, we are writing on behalf of the Monteillets in relation to their disagreement with Columbia County. And I don't know that we really have a disagreement. It's just something that we need to work through, and that's why we're here. That's his language, not really mine. But we were approached by Mr. Dwight Robansky, this is Brian Lowry writing, to write a letter regarding the Monteillets' business. Some topics of discussion brought to our attention were associated with the negative impacts of the fromagerie, which included the traffic from their farm dinner, noise from the milking machines, and the smell from their compost. During our brief discussion with Mr. Robansky, it was determined those factors do not affect us in any way. We are not bothered by their dinners or their traffic, and we actually think it's quite a tribute to the magnificence of the area where we live. As to the noise the machines make, what noise? Lastly, in regard to the smell from their compost, we use it. It doesn't bother us. My wife worked with an environmental health specialist out of Colfax at Community County Public Health that said they need to be selling the compost. It is premium stuff and has no smell at all. We moved into the area, and one of the draws was the animals being so close. We watched lambs and kids being born in the spring, and our daughters love to bring their friends over and ride their bikes. The business is quite an attraction. We discussed zoning minimally and decided that this disagreement between the Monteillets and Columbia County is a disagreement, and it sounds more like a dispute and permit infraction more than anything else. These facts are written above. The Monteillets are neighbors worth having. The Lowers, and in our opinion, Columbia County should be asking them what they can do to promote their business and not the opposite. Their business brings many people from various backgrounds and areas that normally would not visit Columbia County, and their visitors tell their friends to come see us. The business they have developed is an attraction and an asset to the county. In closing, I would have been at this meeting, but due to business conflicts, I'm out of town and unable to attend. I hope this letter gives you answers to questions you might have, but if you have any more, please feel free to contact me at home. He gives his phone number and his cell phone number. Well, this is a fellow that's living, let me copy that letter, right next to Monteillets, and despite Mr. Bobansky's efforts and what the heck he was doing out there on this mission is a little concerning, and will probably come up later. But you heard the response. There is no negative, there's only positive. And in that spirit, we ask you to look positive on this text amendment. This is an opportunity for the county and the Monteillets to keep going. This is something that they've been doing a long time. We just need to get the paperwork in line with the reality. And you are the reality of the decision maker, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hubbard. We had a few emails come into Kim, the planning director, and they want to be submitted into record, so I'll read them at this time. This is from Darcy Hoogman Small, Columbia County Planning Commission. I would like to go on record as supporting the zoning code amendment request by the Monteillets to permit limited commercial uses in the AR1 district. As someone who has a long history both in planning and agritourism, I am mystified that Columbia County does not permit agriculturally based businesses that also attract visitors such as wineries, breweries, cheesemakers, flower farms, etc., to actually sell the products that they make on site. This is totally counterproductive to creating a strong rural economy. From my window at our winery, I can see a neighboring winery and signs for a lavender farm as I type this. We all greet visitors to our properties and sell products that are made on site. These businesses have had no negative impact upon adjacent commercial farming operations, and in fact, have had a very positive impact upon the economy of Walla Walla County by increasing the diversity of agriculturally related businesses and by attracting guests from outside of the area who spend their money here. This is a bigger issue than the Monteillets. It is really about the future of Columbia County, and your recommendation of approval will make the future more secure. Thank you. Darcy Hoogman, Small, owner GM, Woodward Canyon. Then there's the next one. June 9th, from Mandy Wendt, owner of the Weinhardt Cafe and Bakery. To whom it may concern, please consider this a non-biased plea to change the zoning for Monteillet Fromagerie as a small business owner in this community. I can personally attest to the benefits of having their unique agricultural experience available to our community members and the rest of the world. While saying the world sounds extremely overdramatic, it is not an overstatement. Having a farm-to-table business model is extremely rare to have, but ever growing in popularity and interest. What the Monteillets provide is a rare opportunity to see a full-scale fromagerie in action. This not only directly supports our local economy on a taxpayer standpoint, but it also draws in hundreds of people to our small community to be a part of something wonderful, even if just for a couple of hours. This kind of operation is something that you would hope to visit in Europe or Sunset Magazine's top 10 travel destinations. Great news, it's here in Dayton. Having personally applied for a liquor license in my business, it is not something that is taken lightly or easy to obtain. If the state has deemed their establishment fit for alcohol tasting and retail sales, is it necessary to be questioned by the county? Surely there are enough issues at hand to be addressed without being over redundant with what has already been approved by the state. Basically, the only thing the Liquor Control Board doesn't request in applying for liquor license is your firstborn child. It is not something that is given without making sure the individuals and establishment are capable of handling such a responsibility. While I don't believe that alcohol is even necessary to have a successful farm tourist destination, it is, however, a major piece of the picture due to the wine-driven region we are in. Mistakes may have been made on both sides of the issue, but bottom line is that we all need to remember to help support each other instead of trying to close each other down. Our community is made up of individual people enticing visitors and future residents to come to Dayton. We are too small of a community to limit ourselves to the mindset of this is how it is, and not to take the steps to be creative and compassionate enough to find a solution for the benefit of many, not just the Monteillets. The Monteillets are only asking for the right to continue making their livelihood on their property. Rules and regulations exist for the overall good of humanity, but occasionally exceptions must be made in order to maintain the forward growth of a healthy and successful community. Please consider the steps backwards our society will be taking if this issue at hand is not resolved for the good of our residents, businesses, and community. Sincerely, Mandy Went, owner, Reinhardt Cafe and Bakery. And then the last one, Virginie Board. Mr. Linus, following my phone call that occurred a few minutes ago, I'm writing to share with you the Monteillet Fromagerie is a perfect example of economic development for Columbia County. Farming is the heritage and the core value of Columbia County. And to my opinion, it does not make sense that a family farm business, like the one the Monteillets run, can produce but not sell their product directly. Being able to sell direct to customers is the only viable financial way for small farms to survive. And being able to promote added value products indigenous of the valley, like wine, is part of what makes this part of Washington a destination for people seeking to explore the area and taste the exquisite produces that grows on its soil, and products that grows on its soil. The Monteillets, through their dedication to the land and their animals, have shown how good stewards of the land they are, and have attracted thousands of people, making the little town of Dayton a destination. It is not just important, it is vital that they can sell directly their cheeses and other local products like wine to people. And I believe that the town of Dayton can also benefit of such great exposure. I sure hope that some common sense will be used and the Monteillet Fromagerie can continue making cheese and selling it on their place of production. This is what a small family farm has always been about. So why would it be different now than when they started back in 2000? Thank you for taking my letter to the hearing tonight. Sincerely, Virginie Board. So those were the 3 emails that were sent that wanted to be put on record. And when you guys came into the building, we had everyone sign in. That was when the sandwiches were still there.
They are still there.
Are they still there?
There's 2 more back there.
So if you haven't signed in, it would be great if you could do so sometime before we close up, so we have your name on the record. And you were asked to put your address and to state for or against if you were wanting to be called up to speak. If you did check it, I'll ask you ahead of time if you don't want us to come up or if you would still like to come up. So please remember that you'll be given 2 minutes. And I'm inviting all comments from citizens in favor of the AR1 zone text amendment. And can I please have Jim German come up? He lives at 117 Main Street in Waitsburg. He is marked that he is for. As you're at this podium, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Could you please just restate your name and your address, sir?
My name is Jim German, and I live at 117 Main Street, Waitsburg, Washington. And I am for the ag zoning improvement.
Does your comment address the AR1 zone text amendment?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yes. I abbreviated the rest of my speech. First and foremost, I'm approaching you as a businessman, a local businessman who runs a little bar in Waitsburg with my wife, Claire Johnston. We have used the Monteillet cheese since our inception, which was almost 8 years ago, and for us it's made all the difference because it connected the ability to be in the country, to support local farms, and to actually produce smaller amounts of food at a very quality level, which the Monteillets, of course, provide for us. It's just a kind of a hallmark of our menu, and we wouldn't have the same caliber of restaurant without their product, first and foremost. We sell it constantly, all year round. That said, when we first arrived here 10 years ago, my wife and I were invited to a dinner party. The first dinner party we were invited to after about a month was by the Monteillets. And quickly I learned the caliber of people I was dealing with that represented to me really a lot of what the American dream is all about here. An immigrant story, somebody who came from another country to work hard here, actually worked on the family wheat farm with Joan and her family's farm for years, and then to try something different. A local farm girl story who, in a sincere attempt to keep their own family farm going, and did so. And I always had this idealistic view of the country, and I don't know why, but they actually illustrated that view of people who work so hard. Actually, a great inspiration for my wife and I. It actually inspired us to not only buy the buildings, the commercial property that we've been redeveloping in Waitsburg, but also to start a business there.
So your 2 minutes are up.
Okay.
But feel free to wrap up.
Can I wrap it up? Anyway, I think as an ag diversity, they mean everything to this community. And I hear there's another cheesemaker up here in Columbia County now. And you know what? If there is a third, it's a gosh darn cheese conspiracy. You know? And then we got people coming here just besides to look at the beautiful wheat fields and to learn about the great agricultural diversity here. We also are, showing them what a great community we are.
Thank you for your comment, Mr. German. And do you feel in the end you still have more to add?
Possibly, yes.
Thank
you. I do, actually.
The next individual that is for Kimmy, I think it's Kimmy Galasso. Sorry if I butcher anyone's name.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, Kimmy. So, if you'll just state your name and your address, and you're for the AR1 zone text amendment?
I am. My name is Kimmy Galasso. I live at 5211 Old Highway 12 in Walla Walla. And I just wanted to go on the record to support the Monteillets as they supported me in opening our businesses. Before we moved to Walla Walla 7 years ago, we heard of Monteillets and didn't think that something so beautiful could come out of something so small. We moved to Walla Walla, found Dayton, and realized that they were the heart of this area. They were the reason why we moved here. They supported us in opening our businesses. I can honestly say that without the support that the Monteillets gave us when we first moved here, we would have not been able to open the businesses, run them as successfully, or keep them going. Without people like the Monteillets who help us small farmers, we would not have had the tips for dealing with agritourism, a new and burgeoning economy, that Joan and Pierre-Louis had understood from the moment that we had spoken, and they are giving many other local people the ability to have small businesses where there would not have been without their foraging and opening up this area to that sort of business. I truly believe that without value-added products and without the ability for farmers to sell directly to customers, there would be less tourism to come into all of the businesses in Dayton, Waitsburg, and specifically Walla Walla. I sell our local food to Walla Walla through our Walla Walla Farmers Market, and the amount of people who tell me that they are in Walla Walla just to visit the Fromagerie is enormous. I am continually surprised how many people are coming from Seattle, Portland, and San Francisco to visit a Fromagerie in Dayton. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good job, thank you. Just a helpful reminder, the amendment that's being proposed, on-site sales of farm products processed and/or packaged on-site, including nursery, meat, dairy, orchard, vineyard, hay, winery, brewery, distillery, and similar products together with on-site sales of other agricultural-based products, including wine, beer, and spirits, with tasting room, subject to Washington State Liquor Control Board license. Is what the AR1 zone is what's being asked to put in as an amendment. So if we can really stick to that specific topic, I would greatly appreciate it. The next individual is, I believe it says Island Ainsworth? Correct. Is it Island?
It is.
Okay.
My name's Island Ainsworth. I live at 212 Wallula Avenue in Walla Walla. And I just, really simply just want to put, my husband and I moved here 7 years ago. And both of our businesses that are thriving and successful and nationally recognized, on top of just being regionally recognized, we wouldn't be here if it weren't for Joan and Pierre-Louis. They drug us, and they said, you can't leave. And we're grateful to their product. It adds to our business, and to have them be able to, our customers be able to taste the area, there's nothing like it. And it's really what makes this area, I see us as a community in terms of counties and such, but food and wine and all that, we are all connected as a community, and this is what it's really about. And I just wanted to say that we support this and text me just because we believe in what they're doing. We wouldn't be here, our businesses wouldn't be here for sure. Thank you for your time.
Tell them the names. Tell them the name of your business.
I own Saffron Mediterranean Kitchen and for show business.
Thank you very much. The next individual is Jenny Dickinson.
Hello, everyone. Jenny Dickinson, 252 North Tushy Road. Also, I'm here representing the Port as the lead economic development agency for Columbia County, which is One Port Way. I would like to submit a 3-page letter, but I have pared it down. I practiced all afternoon to make it 2 minutes. Thank you. And it is relevant, this zone is relevant to me in 2 ways. One is the Port owns property adjacent to the AR1 and the railroad that travels through the AR1, and I live across the road from the AR1. My letter today will cover 3 areas: why value-added ag is important, why alcohol production should not be a deterrent, and how I think the proposed language can work for everyone. A port marketing study in 2007 surveyed local citizens, and 2 industries tied for number 1, value-added ag and renewable energy. 2008 County Planning Department visioning workshops and a county-wide survey showed the majority of citizens said Columbia County needs growth and chose renewable energy and value-added ag as their top 2 industries. Tourism is also very important to Dayton's economy, and it is changing. Visiting a museum is no longer enough. They want an interactive experience, the kind that the Monteillet Fromagerie provides. I've heard concern from planning commissioners about allowing the production of alcohol and sale of alcohol in this zone. I want to make sure you all understand how difficult it is to start and operate an alcohol-based business. It's not like every neighbor is going to start one. There are federal and state regulations, and before a single label can be produced, those have to be met, meaning a large investment in time and money. The conditional use permit process that they are proposing gives you, Columbia County, the power to control how any alcohol-related business would operate. Research I conducted shows that the AR1 zone, which is a rural zone with good access to county collector roads and a state highway, is an appropriate zone for value-added agriculture. It is not out of line to allow on-farm sales in this zone, but with conditions. This proposed language gives businesses the right to operate, but also gives you the power to condition the operations. Blue Mountain Station is a good example of a conditional use permit. It operates under 12 special conditions, including hours of operation, hours of deliveries, screened garbage and recycling, no lights, blah, blah, blah. Just finish up real quick. Emotions have flared during the last few months, but zoning is not about one business. It is about setting reasonable rules that allow businesses to operate profitably and residents to live comfortably. What message do we want to send in Columbia County? One of stop now, or one that says, how can we make this work? I implore you to please set aside past grievances and do what is best for the citizens and businesses of Columbia County. I urge you to approve this request.
Thank you very much. Next will be Christine Jarsky, sorry. Please get your name before forgetting that.
My name is Christine Jarsky. I live at 128 East Washington in Dayton. And I am a new resident to this county. I've been in Dayton for approximately a week and a half now. I have been hired to be the Economic Development Coordinator for the Port of Columbia. And this particular issue is critical to our future growth and development of the county. As Jenny stated, one of the primary industry areas of focus the citizens wanted to see was value-added agriculture. And this amendment speaks directly to that. It would allow us to continue to help businesses in this area to grow and expand, as well as making that connection between the wine industry and all of the wonderful businesses that we've heard from in Walla Walla. Again, it's hugely important to agritourism as well as the individual product development. And I would just like to encourage you all to support this amendment.
Thank you very much. The next individual is Sarah Groffman.
Hi, my name is Sarah Groffman. I live at 520 Orchard Street in Whitesburg, Washington. I also happen to work here in Columbia County. I work in a restaurant. I've worked in more than one restaurant here, actually. In that capacity and in previous capacities working in tasting rooms, one of the most important parts of my job is to act as a concierge, essentially, for the area. And one of the things that is important to people coming to visit is that they can go and see agriculture of all kinds in the works. I'm constantly being asked, do you have fruit stands? Do you have produce? Is there a local guy who makes woodworking? Do you have this, that, and the other thing, including the cheese? That's how I got to know the Monteillets, was actually because so many people talked about their cheeses, and I had had them in the restaurant that I worked in previously. I ended up going out there and seeing their operation and falling even more in love with this area. To have places like the Fromagerie, to have places like Mace Mead Works, to have places that are unusual and interesting, to be able to encourage tourism and to be able to capture the tourism for more than just an hour. If you have somebody coming out to the Fromagerie and there is more to do, more for them to go see, more for them to experience this bucolic, beautiful scenery, then you get them to stay, and they'll stay in a hotel, and they will, all those lovely hotel taxes can be kept here, and they will stay and have breakfast the next morning. and they'll come back if they have a great time, and if there's things to do. And that is why this is so important, to allow people to sell their product without a middleman, to keep a little extra money in their pocket so they can keep their operations going, to get the taxes that we need to succeed as small businesses in rural communities. That's what makes this so important. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next individual is Dwayne Walmathama.
Those close.
I'm dealing with writing too on here.
My name is Dwayne Walmuth. I'm the Executive Director of the Walla Walla Valley Wine Alliance. I'd also like to point out I'm a resident Biscuit Ridge Road in Wadesburg. Previously, prior to my current position, I was the Executive Director of SWEDA, the Southeast Washington Economic Development Association, which was a 4-county organization, including Columbia County. And prior to that, owned a winery in Walla Walla for 10 years. I've gotten to know the Monteillets over the last 15 years, both personally and as a small business owner. They're hardworking entrepreneurs that have given much to our area and who have created a business that not only provides them a way of life, but also functions as a foundation for other businesses who thrive off the tourists attracted to their farm. I've worked closely with the Monteillets on a number of projects, including media tours that have resulted in numerous written articles and television broadcasts, such as the Sunset Magazine article in 2003, and a television segment on Northwest Back Roads, an evening magazine that appeared numerous times on Below Broadcasting. I would estimate that each of these stories and broadcasts resulted in tens of thousands and probably hundreds of thousands of dollars in expenditures in Dayton and Columbia County, in large part because of the attractiveness of their farm. Going through my 20-minute speech here. I would submit to you that the Monteillet Fromagerie is one of the top 3 non-winery destinations or attractions in Southeast Washington. Izzy the camel runs a close third. This coming weekend, my organization is coordinating an event where we'll have 20 media representatives from publications such as the Oregonian, Sunset Magazine, Wine and Spirits Magazine, Alaska Airlines Magazine, Annapolis, Maryland Capital Gazette, the Napa Valley Register, and others from throughout the U.S. On Saturday the 21st, we're giving these media folks an option to visit attractions of their choice. Half of these people have chosen the Monteillets as somewhere they want to come. That is going to result, obviously, in a lot of exposure around the U.S. I fully respect the decision that you have in front of you to make. However, I encourage you to support this amendment. As the others have mentioned, it's important to the economy here in the local area, and not only for their farm, but many other small businesses that depend on it. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. The next individual is Leroy Cunningham.
Say something now.
Hello, my name is Leroy Cunningham, and I live at 750 Preston Avenue, Wadesburg, Washington. I have a business called Treasure, but before we talk about that treasure, I'd like to talk about this treasure that's sitting over here to my left. In regards to this zoning ordinance, I spent a year with these guys working on their farm every Sunday morning, milking goat and sheep. I watched them use one stand to milk one sheep each time. 10 years later, guess what? They have a full-fledged fromagerie, fully working milking stations, and all of that. These people work very, very hard for what they do, and that is what they represent. That is what they created. So I encourage you to support that, because that means the economic engine is going to be stoked a little bit more in this county. That means I can tell more and more people, go up to the next county, up over, instead of stopping at Wadesburg. We push them up into this county. We need each other, Wadesburg and this county. We all need each other, so I really encourage you to not let's play games. This is not semantics. It's about anything to these people's lives. And so if you don't do this, then you're going to actually put the only nail in your coffin. You don't need that. Because right now I think that people are looking at this board and wondering what in the hell is going on. Excuse my French. But this is very important to all of us. So I just want to say, please, consider this and pass this along so that we can have other future development and other people coming who may want to do the same thing. Thank you very much.
Okay, this next one, I cannot understand the last name, but first name is Bruce, 725 East Dayton Avenue, Hebert. Hebert. Are you in the audience?
I'm just here to observe.
Okay, that's fine.
That's Cabot Creek.
And then the next one is Claudia. I don't know if that's an H or an N. Niso. Would you like to speak?
I would. Claudia Niso, 216 South First, Dayton. I used to be the Dayton Chamber of Commerce director, and so I had a lot of experience during that time with visitors and tourism. And I didn't realize, though, until I left the position and had some time on my hands, and so I went out and volunteered occasionally to work at the Fromagerie, how many people came from out of the area, from out of our country to see this Fromagerie. I was blown away. But what I've heard in regards to this issue is that there are some current concerns about alcohol being served. During my time doing the volunteer work, I honestly can say I never once have seen anyone, at the very most they drink maybe 2 glasses of wine that's very small. Never once have I had to shut someone off. So when it comes to this, I feel like this is vital for the growth of our little valley here, and I just hope that we can come to some understanding. Yes, laws need to be followed, but in this case, can't we all work together? It is an agriculture community. I grew up in Sunnyside. I smelled feedlots all the time. It's part of the community. Thank you.
The next individual is Tammy Miller.
I'm Tammy Miller, and I reside at 108 Rocky Road Lane here in Dayton. And I have known John and Pierre Louis for about 14 years. Got to know them when I lived out at the top of Toucannon in the middle of the windmill farm, and have enjoyed my time visiting with Joan, volunteering with Joan. Joan provides compost to me each and every year. Because of a visit out to Joan's farm about 4 years ago, where I got to know an intern that had a small CSA on their property, it encouraged me when their little intern left to look at what was actually my passion, which is gardening and farming. And so about 3-4 years ago, I started a small CSA at our current location. That small CSA started with 10 shareholders and has this year blossomed to 20 shareholders, and I'm supplying produce to the Wine Cart Cafe. I have been able to have some events on the location that have brought into our area 125 people from out of the area because of an agritourism emphasis that Jenny and Brad McMaster started last year. And this particular AR1 zone affects me directly because I am in that zone. And this year I was approached to look at developing a on-farm stand, which would allow me to sell to low-income families and senior citizens. I was referred by Dwight Robansky, but because of the way this is actually worded, I cannot sell commercially or have a farm stand.
I met with Kim, we looked at what I'm currently doing, and I do fit within the zone for my current structure as a shareholder, but I am limited. I cannot expand any further. By allowing a conditional use permit, I can go before this board next year, hopefully, and ask for some provisions for expansion. So I encourage you to consider having a conditional use permit that allows individual farmers to come before you and make requests. Thank you.
Thank you. The next individual, I cannot read your handwriting. I apologize. But I can read your address. P.O. Box 6 in Waitsburg. Postal address.
That's you.
Oh. Would you like to comment? Nice handwriting. Sorry. What's your name?
Karen Stanton, P.O. Box 6 in Waitsburg. I live in Waitsburg. I own 3 wine country cottages, Waitsburg cottages. I bring in about 80 parties a season from the beginning of April through the end of November. When they're all full, that's 14 human beings a night. And I don't think there's ever a guest that comes that I'm not sort of putting together their weekend. It isn't just wine tasting. That's very, very important, obviously. But these are very nice cottages, very high-end cottages. So, of course, almost all of them, I have a cheese bell, almost all of them want to come to the Monteillets and have an experience. Almost all of them want to explore Dayton as part of the Waitsburg experience. So I look at this and I think, well, naturally, of course, and why wouldn't you? And we get reviews, you know, on the sites when you book the cottages. They can write what they think of their experience, and relentlessly they talk about the experience of the little town of Dayton and the countryside and the Monteillets. And if they couldn't actually buy the cheese, if they couldn't actually come out and have a little sip of a beautiful wine paired with a lovely handcrafted cheese, if that experience was gone, I'm wondering who would that benefit? I mean, that would be, and for me, it would be truly a loss for my business to not be able to send people for that experience. So, thank you.
Thank you. The next individual is Paul Griggle. I believe he.
I'll save you the trouble. It's Greggett.
Greggett. Okay.
It's a tricky one. I'm Paul Greggett. I live with Karen, my wife, at 230 West Street in Waitsburg. We've lived there for 9 years. We've started several businesses. I'm a partner in a small winery called Waitsburg Cellars. I'm also a partner in the Waitsburg Cottages. So we have a kind of a gut level experience of how much work it takes to start and make a small business go. And you've heard from people that own restaurants, from people that are in the lodging business. Some of the synergies of these small businesses, I think, are pretty apparent. My take on this piece of zoning legislation really kind of boils down to the impact on tourism. These businesses have to find a way to make a living. And the way that they can make a living is, I believe, to encourage the tourism. Without that, many of these businesses aren't gonna survive. And it's a seasonal opportunity because tourists come from about the beginning of April to about the end of October. So you're starting out in a bit of a hole. My major background is in media. I've earned a living as a full-time journalist for 35 years. I've been instrumental in a lot of articles that have been written about this region, including most recently having it named top 10 wine touring region in the world. That's a small recent example. The Monteillets, and in fact any business that would be positively impacted by that bit of legislation, are essential. Essential. It's not just about these people here. It's about the broader impact on the changing economies that impact all these small businesses. I think it's a positive step. I know it's not an easy one, but I hope you'll give it full consideration. Thank you.
Tandy Jones, 403 East Dayton. Okay. The next individual is, I believe it's Randall, or T-Roll. It looks like there's a T in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not here.
This next one, 915 South 5th Street. I believe it's first name begins.
You're never going to get it. His name is Valerie. The last name is Boudry. It's not in Czechoslovakia. M-U-D-R-Y. And I live at 915 South 5th Street here in Dayton. I'm one of the co-owners of the Monteillet Fromagerie in Whitesburg. And I fell in love with this area partly because of the materials. Got my soul. They've been very, very integral to our business, and people come to see them. They come to see me, and I get to feed them, and they make their money, which I like. There were some concerns at the last meeting regarding alcohol being sold on the premises, including people going away with cases of wine. And I think Mandy expressed quite clearly it's very difficult to get a license in the first place. Firstborn child, don't get pregnant. It's also very, very specific what kind of licensing you get once you do receive a license, and in their case it's on premises only, meaning you can have a glass of wine over there. You can't buy a case of wine and take it away. That's a completely different type of license, and people aren't there for that reason. They're there tasting a fine cheese. I want to sample it with a fine wine. So I just wanted to put my 2 cents in on that. Thank you.
Thank you
Beat
so
my
much.
2 minutes as well.
I believe the next individual is Darlene Broughton.
I'm going to stand here because it's hard for me to watch. 714 East Park, Dayton. I can add to what other people have said, but I cannot imagine why you would be against it. It's a plus all the way around. So, come on, guys. Let's get behind the people who are supporting Dayton. Let's not make trouble for them. Yay, Monteillets.
Stephen Maxoff? Maxu.
Thanks for allowing us to come before you and offer our different vantage points on this issue. Mine is a little different than most people's.
Sir, can you please state your name and your address for the record?
Sure. Stephen Maxood is M-A-X-O-O-D. I'm at 152 North 5th in Walla Walla. I've been here 3 years. I came to practice medicine at St. Mary's Hospital, Providence. And I take care of a lot of folks here in Dayton and Waitsburg. So I feel very attached to this area toward the hospital with Dr. Luce before he retired, and I've come to know many, many people that live right here in this town. And my take on this issue isn't so much the short-term benefit of tourism, which is of course obvious and everybody's open to the issue, but a longer-term gain that the valley could have from attracting people to come here and live here and work here, such as myself. I've been here 3 years, but I've been coming here for 14 years, visiting. And initially you come for the wineries, for the restaurants, such as the many excellent ones that we have here in town. And then you discover artisanal products like meats, cheeses, and eventually you come to fall for the area and the way of life. And little by little by little, you tell yourself this would be a great place to live. And next thing you know, you're living here, and you become part of life. So it's not just simply people coming and spending money and going, but it's attracting all types of people that would be great additions to this area, and creating the complete package to welcome a certain type of life. And I think the Monteillets are essential and integral to everything that's great about life in this valley, the way they do their work, what they do for a living. And I've felt very fortunate to become part of the pulse of life here in Dayton and Waitsburg, and to get to know them. Thanks.
Thank you. Frederick Libra.
Good evening. I'm Frederick Libran, 1776 State Line Road. I'm a resident of Walla Walla, but I'm here as one of your least productive tenants at Blue Mountain Station. We'll change that.
You better.
But I'm primarily concerned about endeavors like Blue Mountain Station. The ability for a farmer or any artisan to be in part of a community that is known for its products and for its quality is central to the economic success. And I can tell you from having been many times over to the other side of the state, Dayton's a wonderful community. The other side of the state knows about Dayton because of the Monteillet Fromagerie. That is because of the restaurants, because of the connections, because of the reputation they've built up, the single most famous business out here. And people come here as part of the tourism because they've heard of that and they know about this area through them. And when they are here, they get to learn about all of the other wonderful things that Dayton has to offer. They go into the town, they eat at the restaurants, they stay at the hotels, they come back to ski later times. These are the things that the community needs. And the Monteillets are one of your best ambassadors. And so, as a tenant, as a person who's deeply concerned about the economic success of this area, I want you to seriously consider something that's been a part of agriculture for about the last 8,000 years. To say that a farmer can't sell their products, that's the new thing, not the old thing. And so I'd like you to do what has been traditional, what has worked, and what in this country is regulated and made to be safe for the people of this community. I'd like to end with just a personal observation. I'm from Walla Walla, and where we live, when we moved there, there were no wineries there. The first winery came in. We're in the rural region. First winery came in, the same battle was fought. They said there'd be too much traffic, too much noise, too much pollution, everything. We now have about 20 wineries in our area that we can walk to on a Sunday afternoon. None of the predictions that people have made about noise pollution, about commercialization, have taken place. If anything, the economic power that has brought to our region has led to improvements that have allowed people to enjoy the agricultural setting better. It's cut down on dust pollution. It's cut down on the sort of accidents that you have with traffic on bad roads. And I encourage you to let that happen here in Dayton too. If anything else, the people have had a little wine that just drives slower.
Thank you. We're past the 6:30 mark, and there are people against this matter. And I want to give them due time also to speak. I have 6 people left in favor. Judy Jackley. I'm okay. Okay. Heather Hubbard. Hebert. Thank you, Judy.
Hello, everybody. My name is Heather Hebert, and I live at 725 East Dayton Avenue.
Bruce and I have run Paddock Creek Restaurant for 36 years. We've enjoyed being in Dayton, but we had 3 years where we didn't have a liquor license when we first started out. No wine for 3 years. Made things kind of tough. But when we got the wine license, things got a lot better for us. I support and Bruce supports this new verbiage for the zoning commission to consider, for the county, I guess you're the county planners. So I have a letter that I'll submit, but we stand in support. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Heather, would you like to submit the letter right now?
Well, I brought the one for the county commissioners instead of the planners, which
Oh,
is
okay.
exactly the same. So I just sent yours to your office.
Thank you very much. I have Sarah, excuse me, Cricket Cordova.
Hi, I'm Cricket Cordova. I'll keep my comments brief, but I'm no stranger to this room, actually. I feel like I'm getting back at Sadie Hawkins dances and 4-H demonstrations, so I feel like I should be doing something here. Anyway, I mean, you know, a demonstration. But what I want to talk about is, I grew up in this community. My family owned businesses in this community. And since I was very young, I've been very involved in this community, collecting money for the March of Dimes, working on the Mayor's Youth Advisory Board, working with Kim when we did that, what I didn't remember what that zoning thing was that the state did, going door to door asking people for their opinions on how they wanted the county to be zoned. And I am all for zoning, and I actually appreciate the fact that you all spend your time, and I don't know, I assume you're probably volunteers or paid very little to do so. But it's important that we use zoning properly. And we want businesses and people like the Monteillets to thrive. That's something that all of us that have worked so hard all these years along have built up to. And it's just a shame, it's kind of surreal actually that this is even a controversy to me, because yes, we do want to protect our county, and I appreciate that. But we also want to help businesses thrive that are giving back to the community. And the doctor that referenced the hospital, we know how hard it is to keep enough bodies in this county so that we can even afford to keep our hospital open. I was born in Dayton, actually. So, you know, that shows you how long ago that was. But anyway, I just want to speak out in favor. I want to thank you, but I want us to be realistic here. You know, yes, we want to protect our county. We want to protect agriculture, but we also want to help support the businesses that are helping to provide and secure the quality of life that is Dayton and Columbia County. So please do the right thing and allow this conditional use permit. Thank you.
Thank you. Ron Peck.
Good evening, County Planning Commission. My name is Ron Peck. I am a resident of Walla Walla, Washington, 602 Boyer. And as Frederick said, I'm one of those guys who is very, very blessed to be here because of the visitor industry. I was selected as Tourism Executive Director 15 months ago and can do nothing but say part of the reason that I'm here is because of the diverse opportunity that tourists have. I'd like to briefly read your letter and then just speak personally if I could, and I will be respectful of the 2 minutes. June 9th, 2014. Regarding AR1 zoning code language and Monteillet Fromagerie, Planning Commission. Tourism Walla Walla is the official organization directed by the City of Walla Walla to raise the interest, awareness, and ultimately visitors to Walla Walla. In addition, we value the relationship and cooperative and collaborative efforts by businesses and organizations in the surrounding communities of Milton-Freewater, Waitsburg, and Dayton. A recent visitor study that was completed by Tourism Walla Walla validates that visitors to the area are seeking unique, authentic experiences such as those that are offered by the Monteillet Fromagerie. The Monteillet's business is very important to the economic activity in the entire Walla Walla Valley. On numerous occasions, Tourism Walla Walla and other organizations have utilized and promoted their unique services and experiences to visitors, tour operators, and travel writers. Their products, programs, and services are part of what makes this region in Southeast Washington a growing part of our community's economies. It is a valued and an important component of the visitor experience. This letter of support for the Monteillet Fromagerie is simply a request to the Planning Commission to work in concert with the Monteillets so that a reasonable and appropriate solution to the zoning code language can be reached for all concerned, including Columbia County, the City of Dayton, the Monteillets, and our future visitors. Respectfully submitted, Scott Peters, Chairman of Tourism Walla Walla, and myself, Ron Peck, Executive Director. Just want to briefly say, I've been involved in the visitor industry for 37 years, including travel and tourism marketing. I've actually constructed tour programs in the United States, in Alaska, Mexico, and the Russian Far East. And I've actually had the chance to experience their product. I can simply say it's unique, it's authentic, and it's part of what makes this valley so a great destination for all of us. Besides the tour product, it's pretty apparent to me, Mr. German, Chris and his wife from Saffron, and the Weinhardt Cafe all utilize their great product, which is another aspect of our experience that's very important, the culinary aspect. So as small business owners, they're working very hard, not just to bring visitors here, but to be suppliers for other businesses. Thank you again for the time. I know you have a tough decision. I respectfully appreciate the time here. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheryl, P-H-Y-L? Fyken?
Oh, you will get
Can you spell your last name, ma'am?
T-H-Y-K-E-N.
Thank you. Last in favor, Sarah Grant.
I'm a fifth generation girl from Prescott, and I love Prescott, I love you, I love Dayton, I love Walla Walla. So let's show our love. That's all. Oh, my address is 308 East Division, Walla Walla.
There's another letter on the table that was submitted by an individual, Nina M. Booty. Dear members of the Columbia County Planning Department, I give my support to the petition written by Mr. Michael Hubbard of Hubbard Law Office to amend the Columbia County Zoning Code to add Section 0 to Columbia County Code 1835030 in order to allow limited commercial activities in the AR1 zones, including on-site sales of farm products produced on-site. I understand that Joan and Pierre Louis Monteillet have been raising goats and sheep to make and sell their commercial cheese since 2000, and no issues have arisen. During their 14 years of business, Monteillet Fromagerie has become a premier agritourism destination and has been favorably written about in Nation periodicals. At my business, Booty Winery, located at the Walla Walla Airport Industrial Park, I hear people discuss with excitement their desire to drive east to see the Monteillets operation and explore the greater region. County lines are irrelevant to tourists. Please amend the county zoning codes to allow on-site sales of this and other agricultural-based products to keep the tourist industry of Columbia counties and the greater region as a whole healthy and growing. Sincerely, Nina. That ends our in favor. And now you go backwards. I believe it's Dane.
That's Dane Niso, and that's my husband. He just had to leave because he's on the city council. But he asked me to tell you that he inadvertently checked, no, because he didn't have his glasses with him. One less against us.
Is there anybody that is opposed that would like to speak in the audience?
You'd be real popular.
Please don't feel the commentary to keep you from coming forward. Everybody does have is welcome to speak either for or against the amendment. I don't want you to feel shunned in any way, shape, or form. I won't allow it. Okay? I know that some people were cut short and wanted to speak a little more. Is there anybody that would like to do that? I have about 15 minutes left, 10 minutes left.
I'm going to greatly stretch my checkbox. I'll say yes. Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay. I wasn't sure about the timing.
That's okay.
My name is Jamie Chalk, and I live at 1538 School Avenue in Walla Walla. And I've been buying cheese from them for about 10 years, as well as wine sometimes. And I've sold them wine for about 10 years as well. I work at a winery. And I guess I could go on and on about the value of converting a commodity farm to a value-added farm and how many people in the agricultural industry would like to be able to do what they are doing. But I guess the other point would be that Dayton seems to be on the cusp of an agritourism, not explosion, but on the cusp of growing in that direction. And to restrict zoning would really, I think, set you back a number of years. It seems silly to do something that would be counterproductive to the way your valley and the way your town is headed. So I would just encourage you to allow on-site sales of value-added agricultural products from both the tourism standpoint and then also to sustain a family farm. That's all.
Thank you, Ms. Jamie. Is there anyone else?
Can I add to what I said?
Yes, sir.
Did you say yes?
Yes, and then restate your, I'm giving you 2 more minutes.
Okay. Oh.
So.
Dwayne Walmuth, Executive Director of the Walla Walla Valley Wine Alliance. I live at 814 Biscuit Ridge Road in Waitsburg. Just wanted to mention, I know there's been talk about this change to the amendment setting a precedent going forward. I would say I would hope that this would be a precedent, that this would lead to light businesses coming in. I have operated as a private business owner, small business owner in Walla Walla County. I've operated on the economic development level and with a number of other organizations. And the concern in Walla Walla about setting a precedent, I think it was referred to earlier, that has virtually been non-existent, any negative impacts. The positive impacts far outweigh anything that has happened negatively, and I truly mean that there has not been anything noticeable of any negative consequence. The culinary scene that we have, the retail shopping, the performing arts, all of those things that are the quality of life in the community are due to small business operators such as the Monteillets attracting tourism businesses into the community. So again, I wholeheartedly encourage you to adopt this amendment as it is written. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir?
I didn't see the sign-up sheet when I came in. I'd like to speak if possible.
Sure. Could you sign in on this sheet right here for me before you speak?
My name is Reggie Mays. I live at 1015 South 6th Street here in Dayton, Washington. I am also the owner of Mace Meadworks, which is a winery and tasting room on Main Street. I started my business here a little over 3 years ago, and I went through a similar process of understanding how zoning worked. When I wanted to start my business here, there wasn't a precedent for it, and at that time, the city and county planning commission was in the same office. So I went to talk to the planner about making sure that it was possible for my business to start here. So I learned how it works. I know there's a lot of fine print, there's a lot of details. For things to adapt as a community changes, a lot of times these amendments are necessary. I was fortunate in my case that I didn't have to go before the committee and ask for any kind of changes to that. I qualified. But my business is very dependent on tourism. I can't tell you one day that my business has been open that I haven't had tourists come into it, even in the dead of winter. We have people from outside the area. That means people from as close as Walla Walla to Waitsburg, as far away as New York, San Francisco, a lot of Canada. People that are coming from Europe to do cross-country bike rides through here. This is a community that is dependent on tourism. We're dependent on being unique to the world, and our agriculture is one of the things that make us unique. I make a product from agricultural products, and I make wine. I make wine out of honey and grapes. My honey comes from hives on the Monteillet farm, and I can't tell you how many of my customers have come from their tasting room to my place because of their recommendation. I'll wrap it up real quick here. I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to speak, and hope to make the right decision moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
I gave up my turn. Can I take it back?
Yes, you may. We have about 4 more minutes, so.
I can do it in 1 minute.
Go, Cheryl.
My name is Cheryl Thyken. I live in Walla Walla, Washington. I just moved, 22 Costello Place. I'm the downtown farmers market manager. As I look in this room, a lot of these people are the vendors that come to my market. I guess I yielded my time because I was curious to hear from the people who wouldn't want them here. And when that didn't happen, it did really confuse me. So I'm here to get support, and I'm just baffled as to why, we wouldn't want to get this support. So I hope you vote. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Maureen Walsh, and I'm a resident of College Place. I live at 1227 Murphy Lane in College Place. In addition to representing this area in the legislature, I also make Walla Walla sweet onion sausages, and they're mighty good, right? I've done that for a long time, and when we talk about value-added agriculture, the value that is added to this state's economy through our agricultural industry is incredible. And frankly, the tough times that this state has had with the budgets in the last 10 years, it is truly as a result of the economic input from our agriculture, which has been so fantastic in this state, that we were really able to keep our heads above water. It's been an incredible economic driver, and I would hope that we would do everything we can to accommodate that, because the tourism is nothing but positive. When I started working in the legislature over 20 years ago, people would say, Walla where? Dayton what? Waitsburg who? And the reality is now I've got folks from the west side of the state who clamor to come to our area. I met with a gal this morning, and she had a meeting with the Rural Electric Association coming up this Wednesday, and she and her husband have been here all weekend and visiting the wineries, came up to the Fromagerie, and just have really had an incredible time. And and as a person who understands about value-added agriculture, it is what is going to save us. It is what is going to help our kids be able to stay in this community and live in this community when they graduate. And I would hope that that we look at this with very favorable opinions. So thank you very much.
Mr. German, was there any more that you wanted to add?
No.
Okay. I will close, excuse me, those in favor at the moment. I would like to invite Mr. Hubbard or the applicants. Do they have any further comments?
Hearing only positive, I don't think I have anything to add. Would you like to say something?
I'm just so tickled to have everybody here. I don't care about commenting on any of this. I just hope we can just move ahead. Because we've been doing this 14 years and it doesn't seem to hurt the community. And I certainly love all the folks that have been up here and eating our cheese all these years, or we wouldn't be in business for 14 years. So I still invite all you guys to come on down and visit. Because you're the ones that haven't experienced our farm. And you're the locals. And that's what we did this for, was for the locals. But if it takes bringing in the rest of the world, I'm all for that Didn't bring any wine, but it's all here for you folks to enjoy when the meeting's over.
And I apologize for the public outburst.
I declare this public hearing closed, so there'll be no more commentary on the zone AR1 zone amendment. Excuse me, AR1 zone text amendment. This evening we've received a lot of information with your recommendations that I would like to recommend to the Planning Commission that we place the AR1 zone text amendment on our agenda for discussion at our next scheduled meeting. It's a lot of stuff that we need to think about. I want to thank you for coming and your support. That's in favor of the amendment.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept as presented. The text amendment. You have a second? This is where we vote, guys.
Yeah. Is there a second on the table? So, Jay, your motion is to accept the AR1 zone text amendment at the moment?
That's correct. As presented. I think the differences can be worked out in the conditional use permit. Some of the small differences we had discussed earlier.
Okay. I had recommended to the Planning Commission that we place it on the next agenda. Next agenda meeting. Does anybody have a motion for that?
I second.
But somebody would have to motion that one.
Yeah.
I had mine on the table.
No.
You want a motion to that effect?
Yes.
Okay. Now I would move that we take that for this discussion again on our next regularly scheduled meeting.
Point of order, there's been a motion and a second on the table. Receiving that?
I had recommended first. If anybody wanted to make a motion on that, there was no discussion about it.
We made a motion. Robert's Rules of Orders, that recommendation supersedes it.
Okay. Why? Because I had said we have received a lot of information this evening. I would like time to be able to have my thoughts and go over everyone's wishes. But that's why I said I recommended to the Planning Commission that we play out the AR1 zone text amendment on our next agenda.
I make a motion. I didn't realize that she did. I thought you made a statement. I'm sorry.
I was recommending to have a motion.
She made a recommendation. You made the motion.
She can't make a motion as the chairman. She's asking.
Who made the motion?
for a recommendation.
So we can vote on mine.
Excuse me.
Sorry, but somebody's not paying attention.
I know we are very separated from here. He may not have understood what I was asking. I can't make a motion because I'm the chair.
Right, he made the motion.
No, I made a motion that we accept, so now we can vote. because he
Yeah.
seconded
He
it.
seconded it.
Right, he said
Take them all on your Is that what he did down
He
at
made the
Yes.
motion on your recommendation. This gentleman in the blue seconded it.
But wasn't your motion to vote on it now?
Yes.
And mine was a recommendation on to have it for the next.
Right, but my motion was to accept it as presented. He seconded it, let's vote on that
Okay.
and then move on.
So we will take, we will not listen to my recommendation to hold it for the next meeting to vote. Jay has said that he wants it voted on right now. The AR1 zone text amendment is on our agenda at the moment. So those in favor, please say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
And those opposed?
Here's the thing, here's what I want to do, and I hope everybody understands. I'm not necessarily voting against this, but I want time to look at this over. That's the way I am with everything I do. I do not make quick decisions. And just so everybody understands where I'm coming from.
I can't do anything with that motion.
I made a motion.
Could you,
No, Ron, you need to vote,
I made a motion.
The decision is made.
so, there are 2 in favor of the AR zone text amendment to be voted on at the moment. And there was 4 opposed, so motion does not pass.
Who are the 4?
Myself,
I thought you only voted for your tiebreaker.
okay, well then there's 3.
Okay,
I was,
so it's up to you, Ron.
It was, Mr. Clark, Mr. Broom, and Brian that voted against approving it at the moment. The motion does not carry.
And that's what it is, as far as I'm concerned, is at the moment.
If you're wanting to put it on the next agenda, you need to make a motion.
I move that we put it on the agenda of our next regularly scheduled.
All those in favor, all those in favor of moving the AR1 zone text amendment to the next scheduled meeting for discussion, vote. Say aye. Raise your hand, please.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Are you opposed, Jay?
I'm not opposed because it's been turned down, correct? So
This is
we'll-
for
I'm with it. We'll go to the next one.
Okay. So motion passes to put on the next agenda for next scheduled meeting, the AR1 zone text amendment. Now, we need a motion to close the meeting.
Well, just a little comment. We talked about this for a couple months already. And then you've heard the testimony today with nothing but positive. So that's why I said, why not take care of it today? You know, but I think the differences we had are very minor that they can be taken care of in the conditional use permit. All this does is move it on to the county commissioners to approve, to allow this process to go forward. It's not a done deal at that time, and then they still have to drop the conditional use language. So that's all I'm reminding you guys.
Thank you for your statement, Jay. Just as a reminder, this is not saying no. This is, of course, not saying yes. We're just needing time to process what everyone has said. That's all we're doing. Can we have a motion to adjourn?
Move that we adjourn this meeting. Second.
All in favor to adjourn the meeting? Say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Meeting for today, June 9th, closes at 7:03 p.m.